Are you ready for the final round? Your task is to go from Mustang to biochemistry, and the race begins in... One of my favorite ways to pass time is by doing a Wikipedia race. It's fun and challenging because who would think to relate Mustangs to biochemistry, right? Believe me, it was not easy. But if you know where to look, the connections between these two seemingly unrelated topics start forming. One place where you can see an overlap between Mustangs and biochemistry is actually in a process known as fuel combustion. So let's take a look at that. How about we pause this video and zoom in some more, a bit more, okay, maybe a lot more. Now that we can see the inside of the car, let's look at what's happening specifically in the fuel tank. When you go to the gas station, you're filling your car with a bunch of hydrocarbons, specifically one with the chemical composition of C8H18. When you start your car, the fuel makes its way through the engine through pipes. Each car engine has multiple pistons. I've drawn a simple model of one of these pistons so that you can see the interactions between C8H18 molecules and oxygen. Let's zoom in and take out some molecules to make this model even more simple. Now we can see that the oxygen molecules and the C8H18 molecules are colliding with each other to produce CO2 and H2O. Scientifically, this is known as combustion reaction, which is why we call this process fuel combustion. In this kind of reaction, we see a hydrocarbon interacting with oxygen to produce carbon dioxide and water. Now this model I drew was very simplified, so let's look at the equation and what that would look like translated into molecules. Now what about this equation and the way it looks like as molecules? Don't they look similar? Now that I've drawn them side by side, the similarities are easier to see. As we saw from the model before, the top equation is for fuel combustion. Now the bottom, this one is for cellular respiration, a process eukaryotic organisms use to convert food, like glucose, into usable energy. The ratio of molecules between each equation differs greatly. For example, one takes in 25 moles of oxygen, while the other only takes 6. Despite these differences, these are both combustion reactions. Mustangs and biochemistry can seem like they're miles apart, but there are actually a lot of places where these two subjects overlap. Fuel combustion, which is what we just went over, shows how cars use a similar process to what you do to convert chemical energy into energy that we can use. In the future, I hope to major in biochemistry so that I can observe such chemical reactions, as well as cell signaling, gene expression, and so much more within cells. Studying biochemistry is extremely applicable to the world today because it helps us understand stuff like neurodegenerative diseases as well as autoimmune responses, which are on the rise in today's population. So being in this field means helping humankind advance in a similar fashion to how Mustang has been doing all these years with their cars.